Salt is basically made up of sodium and chloride. Majority of it is sodium. Now, it is the sodium content of the salt that we need to worry about. Salt primarily absorbs water. When we have too much of salt, our body tends to sort of hold on to the water. Because it's holding on to the water, the volume of our blood increases. It's putting a lot more pressure on our blood vessels. Our heart is trying to pump even more harder so that all this extra volume of blood is able to move around the rest of our body. So the more strain on it, the more pressure on that heart, and the heart is under a lot of stress and pressure. How much of salt you're supposed to have in a day? 1 small teaspoon. So how do we reduce our salt intake? Include more fresh foods in your diet. There are lots of fruits and vegetables that are naturally high in potassium. Your fruits, your vegetables, your grains, your pulses, these naturally have less amount of salt or less amount of sodium. So if your sodium intake is too high, then the potassium tends to sort of balance it out. So your potassium foods are coconut water, your banana, your leafy vegetables. These naturally have potassium. A lot of our spices, a lot of dried herbs, like a lot of mint, we use bay leaves, we use coriander, a lot of dry herbs, lime, your vinegar, these are things that are all flavoring agents that don't have too much of sodium in it. Avoid anything that comes in a bottle or in a packet. Cheese is also something that contains a lot of salt. There are a few things that you can do at home when you're cooking to also reduce your salt intake. So when you're making rice, you don't need to add salt. If you're making your atta of your chapatis, you don't need to add salt. In your salt ka dabba, put a small spoon and keep. So automatically, you're going to be using less salt. Try and add your salt at the end of your cooking. Avoid using soup cubes for flavor because they're full of sodium. If you're eating a lot of food that comes in a packet, that comes in a bottle, it is important to read nutritional labels. Any food that has less than 400 mg per 100 grams is good, but anything which is less than 120 mg is perfect. That means it is a low sodium product.